What's up, guys? It's me, JellyKnees, and we are gonna go over the teaser that I talked about very briefly in the Familiars video, but we're gonna go into way more detail, what it means, the letters, the whole 9 yards, some secret symbols that are hidden on the image, kind of hidden is an interesting way to put it, and what those symbols potentially mean, because I found some exciting stuff. So, get subscribed, let's get into it. We have the Familiars image. What I talked to you guys about before was the 6 numbers that are sitting at the bottom of the image: 16, 92, 7, 42, 8, and 7. So those numbers are really not indicative of anything by themselves. But the tinfoil task force went to work, as we do. And we went through a bunch of different combinations of things of what these letters could possibly mean. And let me go through that process with you guys. So the first thing we tried was multiplying the numbers together. So 16 times 92 times 7 times 42 times 8 times, that should say 7, not 2. But the final result is, what is this? 24,235,008. So nothing indicative of anything by itself there. And I tried looking at this backwards to see if it kind of formed a word, but nothing really worked out there. But that's not where this one stops. We then took each number and tried to correlate it to a letter in the alphabet. So if we go to that, we see here that if we count A as 1, then we get the letters to the numbers are B, D, B, C, E, blank, blank, H. And the blanks are because if A is 1, there is no 0 letter. But then we change that to A equals 0. So then if you do that, it's CEC DFAAI. Once again, though, doesn't really spell anything by itself. So that's kind of where the multiplication thought process died. We weren't sure where to go off of that, but the alphabets did pose a very interesting way that we might be able to go by it. So, using a number substitution cipher for the alphabet, there's 26 letters in the alphabet. And if we go through, I mean, the numbers again, we've got 16, 92, 7, 42, 8, and 7. So 16, we can go on the cipher, that's the letter P. 92 is the really interesting one, that since there's only 26 letters, the thought process for us was we go through and basically restart counting at the beginning of the alphabet. So Z is 26. We then jump back to A and make that 27. So if we do that all the way through till we hit the 92 mark, that actually makes it the letter N. So we did that for all of the letters corresponding to each number, and these are the results that we got. 16 is P, 92 is N, 7 is G, 42 is P, 8 is H, and 7 is G again. But PNG, PHG doesn't give us any clues of anything, really. So there's no good way that the alphabet turning into numbers really becomes any usable word. So then I had the thought of using something else. There's a system called ASCII, which this is an ASCII binary octal hex decimal chart. And what this is it takes numbers and gives them a corresponding letter or response or something along those lines. So really, if we take the ASCII key, which is the last column here, there doesn't do much. But if you make it the letter, the decimal, and the ASCII, the response, then we can go through and we see 16 is DLE. Then we go further down and we see 92 is a dash or a slash, a backslash, which doesn't really work. So we also thought about using the hex column of this document. So it counts up, but it also got some letters and numbers mixed together. But we can go through and everything but 92 works for the hex column and gives us a response. But I want to show you guys what those responses are. So for ASCII, 16 is DLE, 92 is a slash, 7 is BEL, 42 is an asterisk, 8 is BS, and 7 is BEL again. Really, there's nothing we can do, and the slash and asterisk really show us that this is not likely the correct way to go. Even if we could form something with these letters, the two non-responses basically don't really help us out. So then we use that hex code I talked about. So we use this chart again, go to the hex code, and we've got 16 equals SYN, 92 doesn't equal anything. So first strike against the hex code right there. 7 is BEL again, 42 is B, 8 is BS, and 7 BEL. Once again, not having a result in one of the columns doesn't help us believe that this is likely where things are intended to be going, that we're on the right track. But even if you don't consider that, there's very little that you can spell that we could figure out that constitutes some kind of teaser or reveal related to the game using the letters we've been given. I mean, we have 4 B's. That's going to be almost impossible to use in a sentence or in a singular word or even 2 words by itself. So then Fade to Black, who proud member of the Tinfoil Task Force, had the brilliant idea. And I was, at this point, we're going on 30, 40 minutes of research trying to figure out what these letters or what these numbers mean. And Fade sends me a message on Discord that says, what about the periodic table of elements? So, okay, I'm fully willing to look into that. So I pull up an image of the periodic table and I'm going through and we have 16, which is sulfur. Okay, I'm not sure what sulfur has anything to do. 92, which is uranium. Okay, sulfur and uranium. I'm not, where does that follow? Then we have 7, which is nitrogen. We have 42, which is molybdenum, I believe is how you pronounce it. Something among those lines. And then we have 8, which is oxygen, and 7, which is nitrogen again. So really, by themselves, they don't mean that much. But the pattern that I realized, and what was genius about this, is that it's actually the symbols that we're supposed to be looking for, not the elements themselves. So if you look at the elements by themselves and line it up, the letters, if you remember, were in 2 separate rows. 16, 92, and 7, and then 42, 8, and 7 were the 2 separate rows. If we do that and pull just those elements out and keep them in their rows, we get this. Sun and moon. Now this is like next level, like hidden messages in their teasers. And if Fade hadn't brought this up to me using the periodic table, I would have been lost for quite some time before I'd even thought to use it, probably. And trying to find more different ways to use the codex in order to figure out what the numbers meant. But yeah, so we've got, like I said, sulfur, uranium, nitrogen, molybdenum, oxygen, and nitrogen gives us sun and moon. And if you guys watched my video about the Extra Life question and answer session that we did, I asked them specifically about if day and night cycles were going to be a thing in Ethereal, to which they said, we can't comment on that. So in my mind, day and night cycle was most likely going to be a thing, but they've just never confirmed it. This teaser having sun and moon almost outright confirms that there's going to be some kind of day-night cycle in Ethereal, whether that be you load into a match and it's day on this match, but the next match you load in is night, that we don't know, or if it's going to change throughout the course of the game. But there's something a little extra that I looked into here that I want to talk to you guys about. And so for that, I am going to have to grab my tinfoil hat. Give me one sec. So now that the tinfoil hat's on, we can really talk about some of the really interesting things that I found when looking into one thing of the image they gave us. So if we look back at the main image, there's the numbers, the familiars, the 3 that we knew about that were revealed, and the 3 we don't know about that are silhouetted at the moment. And like I said, the numbers at the bottom, subject to change, the Ethereal logos. But the very interesting thing is this symbol on the left side. Now, it's very indicative to me of the sun and moon teaser at the same time as the letters. And to me, that's where it might stop. And I think to a lot of people, that is where it stopped. But being the JellyKnees, I couldn't let it sit there. I had to do more research. So I was looking into lunar phases and the sun and images, trying to find something that resembled this. Because the 2 dots is really interesting to me. To me, that's showing more than just, this is just a crescent moon shape. There's something there that's reflecting those dots. And typically, when you see images of the moon, you just see the crescent shape or you see a full moon. You don't get weird little dots involved. So that's where the tinfoil came on, and you guys are going to see the findings. So we get a close-up of the image here that I pulled out. Like I said, we've got these two dots, to me, meaning more than just this is the moon, the crescent shape, and then the circle encasing them. In my research, I happened to come across an image that was very, very interesting and reminiscent of this image at the same time. So I found this. This image mostly is not effective. That these first four images don't mean a lot to us. But it is labeled phases of solar and lunar eclipse vector icons. Yeah. Whatever. This is just the stock image that I found for this. The interesting thing is showing the moon with these dots attached to it. This is one of the only things that, in talking about phases of the moon and things like that, that had the dots also involved. And if we, like I said, go back to this image, we see those dots here in just in a slightly different fashion. So here's the big brain tinfoil hat theory. I think, at the very minimum, that Ethereal is going to have eclipses in the game of some kind. In theory, they're going to be rare events that happen during the night or day. You probably won't see one every game, is my thought process behind that. But it's very, very interesting to see that they have this little detail. And it could mean nothing, and I could be reading into it. But I was right about the familiars. So I need you guys to put your faith in me that I think this is where it's going. That there's going to be some kind of added thing to the day and night cycle in Ethereal. Because notice they didn't say day and night. It said sun and moon. Which is a very specific set of words. Right? In theory, you could have come up with something else to say day and night if that's all it was. But sun and moon, I mean, the sun, heat, the elements between the two of them, hot, cold, everything in between, eclipses, rain, shine, clouds, right? There are so many things that you can go down. And the fact that the elements they used were sulfur, uranium, nitrogen, molybdenum, oxygen, and nitrogen, a lot of those elements are present in an atmosphere. And so I'm really going out there on this one, guys, but I think that there's more to the day-night cycle, or I guess I should say sun and moon cycle, to Ethereal than just light and dark. There's going to be more, whatever it is. There's going to be atmospheric changes, clouds, rain, sunlight, heat waves, freezing, it's hypothermia, whatever it's going to be. There's going to be something bigger involved throughout the whole thing. But guys, I leave the rest to you guys in the comments. Please let me know what you think, if I'm going too big brain or too small brain, that it's going to be even more than this. I would love to hear your guys' theories down below, as well as anything else you think about this teaser. But guys, that's going to be it for me on this one. I appreciate you guys so much for sticking through it. We're doing 2 more videos this week, and then we'll kind of slow down the posting schedule next week a little bit. But with that, guys, if you want to click right over here, we'll have a video for you of the playlist of all my Ethereal content. The other side, recommended for you. And if you click my icon, hit subscribe, get the bell on, you won't miss any more Ethereal content that comes out from now on. Thanks, guys. I'll see you in the next one.